All right, buddies, welcome to another episode of My View on Books. It's been a very long time. I think after a month or 8 weeks, I'm doing an episode on books category. But then I had so much time to read a book, and I didn't finish many books. Recently, I finished like a couple of books, and yes, we are resuming My View on Books. And in this episode, we're gonna talk about a science book, which is Stephen Hawking's Brief Answers to the Big Questions. I think this year I have done another science book. Let me just check my sound. Yeah, sound is good. So I think Six Easy Pieces by Richard Feynman, and I was really fascinated by that book. The concept of science, complicated topics of science explained in a very amusing and convenient manner that you can understand, a layman can comprehend. So that kickstarted my exploration of science books. So I decided to read one science book regularly. Once you complete one, pick another one, and keep in touch with science, and especially cosmology, the space science that intrigues more, especially reading about black holes and stuff on all. So right now I'm reading a book on black holes, same with author, same author, Stephen Hawking. So this book is, as you can see, the title is so straightforward. Brief answers to the big question. I even have the contents up. Let me just bring you the contents. Mhm. Yes, I hope you can see the content. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward, right? The chapters: is there a God? How did it begin? And is there alien life? And can we predict the future? Can we time travel? Will we survive on Earth? And should we colonize space? And will artificial intelligence outsmart us? And how do we shape the future? So it's pretty straightforward. And Stephen Hawking is a popular scientist, everyone knows. He's like into memes as well. So many people have made the fun of his electronic robot voice. So basically, he lost his voice due to his ailing disorder. He had a chronic ailment, and then he can't move because of the disorder. So we always see him in a wheelchair with a robotic voice, and it's difficult. He has to think, and his thought is converted into speech, which will take quite a lot of time. So people who go to interview him, they have to give the questionnaire way before, and it shouldn't be like a simple question like how are you and all. So it should be a very useful and meaningful question, so that he prepares it, because there's a lot of effort and time going in to prepare the answers, and coming to that text to speech recognition. Okay, this is about the author. So he's really determined, and there was one point of time his doctors told him that you're not going to live after a period of 1 or 2 years. But then he what do you say? He disproved that, and he ended up living until the age of 50, 60. So yeah, the author's life itself is very motivating, and he has done remarkable and outstanding work in the field of cosmology, and especially in black holes. So I think this is not a first book, but this is one of the popular books from him. And my friend was reading this book, so I got interested in this. So straight away after Six Easy Pieces, I picked this up, and as you can see, the titles are pretty straightforward, right? So is there a God? So basically, trying to reason, based on facts, the universe, the way of working, whether God is possible or not. And he kind of not denies, and he kind of not agrees also. So that was interesting chapters to start with, and then how it all began. So basically, trying to come up with the theory on how Big Bang started, and explaining what is matter, and yeah, these are all like how a common man can easily understand. So that's what he explains in a manner with terminologies that even a common man can understand. So we all know that black holes suck everything that comes in their way, and he gives an example of falls. Let's say Niagara Falls. So the black hole has a event horizon, which is nothing but the boundary, and from there, if you fall into it, you cannot come back. So it's exactly like a fall. So until you reach the edge of the fall, you have a chance to come out, but then once you trip over, you cannot go back. So that's exactly like a black hole. And especially the black hole was what is inside a black hole. The chapter number 5 was really fascinating, and talking about alien life. So he's saying that the one of the explanation that he gives, that the possibility of evolving, only in earth we got the chance, or the conditions, environment, and all the possible factors came into picture, and there was the space and time for a human to evolve until this point. So where we have evolved into an intelligent species. But in other planets, there are planets like Earth, but then there could be various factors that could have, changed the equation. So there are so many variables and equations involved, right? So even one of them is not satisfied, then you would not end up with an intelligent human life. So that's what he's saying. Like there are many planets out there which are like in Earth zone, where Earth is like in a habitable zone around, revolving around the star sun, and there are so many planets which are in habitable zone, but then any equation variable, if it's not satisfied, then definitely you could not end up with having an intelligent life like humans right now. So he's saying that, yeah, so if there was intelligent life, we could have found out. So he's saying that not as for us now. So he does not completely, what you say, ignore or bullshit the, UFA theories and all. But then the point he gives is so valid. Like the amount of time and therefore evolution to happen, there are a lot of factors involved, and in Earth it worked out, and that's why humans evolved. But in other planets where it is still in habitual zone, Earth, like Earth, the factors did not work out. So that is like a very very infinite, what do you say, it's very random and happened only in Earth. That's the reason we did not find any intelligence life right now. And if they were, they would have contacted by now, right? So we are trying to search other life, and imagine a civilization or life which is like 1,000 years elder than us, then definitely they would have made contact, and by now whatever happened, when Europe started exploring, would have been happening. And that comes to the next topic, where he's saying that we should colonize space. So he's like propagating that concept, like you should go out and explore. And again he gives the same example. If Europe had not ventured out, we would have not come up with America and other continents. So that also very interesting. Like it's gonna happen. Like when we get the technology, we should go out and colonize space, because depending on Earth alone is will be like a suicide. So he's saying that anything can happen to Earth. Either humans will end up using nuclear weapons and destroying themselves, or some calamity might come, catastrophe, natural catastrophe might come. So like we are seeing, right, COVID virus right now. So anything like that, huge natural calamity might come and wipe us out. So depending on Earth alone, it's going to be a suicide. So he says that we should venture out and colonize space, so that we have this second option. If life did not work out in Earth, then at least we'll have the humans colonizing other planets, and humanity will survive beyond Earth. So that's the main reason he's saying. And then my favorite topic, artificial intelligence, that is one of my favorite topics. And as he talks about it, he, like, there's going to be a lot more problems coming in, right? They are not only going to be more intelligent and like highly superior intelligent than us, but then they are also going to have how we are going to treat humans. So we'll be in a state to control them, but then even if you have the control of pulling the plug out whenever you want, they can get smart anytime. And then how you're going to treat the AI robots? So you're going to treat them like a shark, where you hunt them and have a fin soup, or you're going to treat them like an equal person with rights? Are there going to be laws protecting the robots? And when conscious robot comes in, they're going to be almost like humans. So God created humans in the image of him. So similarly, we are going to create robots in the image of us, and definitely that's going to be a major thing to consider. Are we going to look at the robots like a servant machine, mechanical machine, a mechanical servant, or are we going to treat them like a person? So that is one thing. Was philosophical and it was practical as well. So things can go out of hand there. So he's really cautioning the humanity, like we need to be really careful. We need to regulate laws on creating robots, and the laws that we provide for them, and how we should treat their robots. That was really good. That's one of my favorite chapters. After is there a god? And then the last one, how do you shape the future? So he summarizes all the chapters, and it was simple. As I said, you don't need any even if you're not into science, or if you're not a geek or nerd, or you just want to know about space, Stephen Hawking has explained it in simple words, and as you can see, the chapter names are very straightforward, and it strikes with the common people. Like, is there a god? So anybody who would like to explore spirituality, science, religion would definitely like to read that chapter, at least to contradict him or support him. So you're going to end up reading that chapter. So that first chapter itself was very fascinating, and then it's pure science, like how did it begin. Mostly it's concentrated on space, and then it's like talking about AI robots as well, and time travel. So that was also another interesting chapter. Is time travel possible? So he's explaining, can we travel into the past or future? What will happen? How is time set? Is it a linear, or like, Einstein's favorite quote is that, time is nothing but an illusion, right? So there he explores the concept of time travel, and the one thing that he always says is, truth is stranger than fiction. I think, yeah. And yes, I have marked so many pages. I would like to read one. Yeah, this is he's saying, like, I have led an extraordinary life on this planet while at the same time traveling across the universe by using my mind and the laws of physics. I have been to the furthest reaches of a galaxy, traveled into a black hole, and gone back to the beginning of time. On Earth, I have experienced highs and lows, turbulence and peace, success and suffering. I've been rich and poor. I've been able-bodied and disabled. I've been praised and criticized, but never ignored. So is talking like usually theoretical physicists explore the concepts, or it's thought experiment, that as they would say. So they don't do experimental physics, but then they do thought experiment and come up with this theories, like how the universe functions or what could be the possibility, and then it's up to the people who experiment and figure out that, okay, whatever Einstein said was true. And yeah, we did not live in the times of Einstein. So Einstein was the most popular and revolutionary scientist, I think, at least in the 20th century. But then Stephen Hawking, he's no more, but he was in our era. So yeah, I think we should read about him. And the one thing he stresses in the end of the book is, today's youngsters or today's generation don't usually spend time reading science. And he's saying that we are going to be in a we are going to be in a situation where everything around is science. Like, nowadays we are ordering food, right, and groceries, everything happens in an instant. So he's stressing on the point that you should be aware of basic science and technology about everything, like how your television works, how your app works, how that delivery system works. And in future it's going to be so profound, technology is going to be so profound, and everywhere is going to be surrounded with technology. Already we are seeing that ChatGPT and so many stuff, AI stuff. So we should definitely get to know about basic science. And I usually read science, and from this year I have decided, especially after 6 easy pieces book, I have decided that always be in touch with one science book. So I finished this book and I started reading Black Hole. So it's a very small book. I'll do a talk on that as well. But then I said, every once I finish a science book, I'm gonna move on to another book. So that is one thing I've decided. Always keep in touch with science, especially space science, which I like. Yeah, right now I can't become an astronaut, but I would love to become an astronaut. So at least I can explore the science as a thought experiment and keep reading about it. And as Stephen Hawking says, I feel this generation and the younger kids needs to be constantly and consistently in touch with science and technology. They should know everything, especially the gaming kids know everything about this hardware and all. So that is one thing, they whatever they are interested, they know in and out of that should come out of it, and come out of it, know about everything else. So yep, this is a very good book. Do purchase it. It's a very popular book, and I'm from a very very popular author. He's a scientist, so it should be available in any store. And if you're in a city, it's going to be in Amazon or any other merchandise, so you can order and get it door delivered. Do purchase and read this book. It's very important. You do not have to be profound in science, or you don't have to be a geek or nerd. It's simple book which explains the complicated space science concept and questions, trying to get answers to them in a very simple manner, even that layman can understand. Yes, I hope you enjoyed this episode on myViewoNBooks. We are into 42, 8 more episodes for 50, and 8 more books, I guess. So I'll be completing this year 50 book reviews or just talks. I don't do review, I just talk about books. Yes, I'll catch up another live stream and probably another book next week. As usual, the schedule is going to be so tight, and as per the schedule, tomorrow we're going to stream Paravan. What is that game? Star Wars Jedi. Yeah, done like 5 episodes, so we'll resume that tomorrow. So see you until then. You're watching Medley with MaddiE. I am MaddiE Dawson.